The most dangerous enemy is the one that lives silently within us. We often believe that our self-respect is lost because others hurt us. But the truth, sharper than a slow knife, is that we, ourselves, are the ones quietly eroding it day by day through seemingly harmless habits. But how many times have we indulged ourselves? How often do we compromise with our own weakness, procrastinate, or betray our values only to wake up the next morning feeling hollow? No one talks about these things. No one points out the subtle but dangerous behaviors because they look normal. And it's exactly because they seem normal that we let our guard down. Today, guided by the clarity of Stoic thinking, we'll expose 10 behaviors that are silently destroying your self-respect, and more importantly, how to rebuild it from within. I challenge you to watch this video until the very end. Don't miss a single behavior, because even just one of them might be the reason you've turned your back on yourself. Before we begin, comment below. I accept the challenge, and start now. Number 1. Saying "I will," but never following through. There's a quiet erosion that happens not through violence or chaos, but through broken promises, especially the ones we make to ourselves. Every time you whisper to your mind, "I will wake up early," "I will start working out," "I will take a break from social media," and fail to follow through, you are not just delaying growth. You are sending a message to your subconscious that your words hold no weight. It begins innocently, almost imperceptibly. You set your alarm for 6 a.m., determined to change. The first morning, you snooze it just 5 more minutes, then again the next day, then again for 2 weeks. At first, you excuse yourself, "I've been tired," or "one more day won't hurt." But eventually, something subtle and dangerous takes root. You stop believing yourself. The truth is, you're always watching. The deepest part of you, the one that keeps score silently, takes note of every promise broken, every intention left to rot in procrastination. Over time, you begin to distrust your own will. You stop trying not because you're incapable, but because a part of you already expects you to fail. And that, right there, is how self-respect dies. Not with a loud crash, but with 1,000 quiet retreats. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. Epictetus didn't urge us to explain our values. He demanded that we leave them. In the Stoic worldview, character isn't something we talk about. It's something we build, breath by breath, action by action. The moment your words become hollow, your integrity begins to crack. Not because others are judging you, but because you're judging yourself. This doesn't mean you must never stumble, but it does mean that when you say, "I will," you must treat those words like sacred contracts. Speak less, do more. Let your actions prove your philosophy. The more you act in alignment with your intentions, the more your internal sense of power grows. Not arrogance, not ego, but that quiet, unshakable confidence that comes from being someone you can rely on. Think of it this way. If a friend constantly promised to show up, but always bailed last minute, would you still trust them? Now ask yourself, are you being that kind of friend to yourself? Self-respect isn't built by grand declarations. It is built in the small, often invisible moments, the ones where no one is watching and you still choose to act with discipline. So tomorrow, if you say you'll rise at dawn, then rise, not for the sake of productivity, but for the sake of your own word. Because when your actions echo your intentions, your soul stands taller. The Stoics never cared for empty speeches. They believed in embodiment. So embody your principles, embody your commitments, speak less, follow through. Because in the end, self-respect is not something you find, it's something you earn, one kept promise at a time. Number 2, constantly comparing yourself to others on social media. You wake up, you open your phone. Within seconds, you're scrolling through a curated world, a friend buying their first house, a classmate celebrating their engagement, someone your age launching a successful business. Meanwhile, you're staring at the ceiling of your rented apartment, wondering how to make rent next month. A subtle heaviness creeps in. You start questioning your worth, even though yesterday you were proud of simply making it through the week with integrity. This is the quiet poison of comparison, sweet at first glance, yet corrosive beneath the surface. Social media has become the modern stage for constant performance. But what we often forget is that what we see is not real life. It's a highlight reel. People rarely post about their debt, their doubts, their arguments behind closed doors, or the days when they feel lost and unworthy. And yet, we compare our raw, unfiltered lives to these polished snapshots, and unsurprisingly, we always come up short. Comparison is seductive because it promises clarity. It whispers, "Look there, that's what success looks like. That's what happiness looks like. That's where you should be." But this is a lie coated in gold. You are not them. You do not live their life, carry their burdens, or make their sacrifices. You only see the mask, not the soul behind it. When we compare, we aren't reacting to reality. We're reacting to an illusion, distorted by perception, and more dangerously, we judge ourselves through that illusion. Over time, this doesn't just breed envy, it breeds shame. We begin to feel like we're behind, like we've failed, like we're not enough. But here's the Stoic truth. Your value does not come from your position, but your posture. It is not where you are, but how you are. Are you kind when no one's watching? Are you resilient in hardship? Are you honest with yourself? These are not visible on a feed, but they are the true currency of self-respect. When you constantly compare, you're not only insulting your own journey, you're abandoning it. Every moment spent envying someone else's path is a moment stolen from walking your own. And the more you do it, the more you train your mind to seek validation externally instead of building strength internally. If your thoughts are consumed by what others have, you blind yourself to what you already possess and who you have the potential to become. So the next time you catch yourself mid-scroll, mid-sigh, mid-why not me, pause. Ask yourself, am I seeing truth or just the glitter of illusion? And more importantly, am I honoring my own life or betraying it through comparison? Because at the end of the day, the most meaningful life is not the most glamorous one, it's the one lived with courage, self-awareness, and quiet dignity. That life can't be measured in likes, but it is the life worth respecting. Number 3, forgiving others, but never forgiving yourself. I acknowledge that some people forgive themselves too easily and quickly. When they feel the tooth of remorse or the pang of regret, they let themselves off the hook. But that's not who we're talking about here. We're talking about you, the person who remembers their mistakes long after everyone else has forgotten them. The one who lies awake at night, not because of what others did, but because of what you did or failed to do. You're generous with forgiveness when it comes to others, yet when it's your turn, you become the harshest judge, the coldest warden of your own soul. This behavior, quiet and noble on the surface, is one of the most corrosive patterns to your self-respect. Every time you revisit your past with condemnation, you chip away at your present dignity. Every time you say, "I should have known better," or "How could I have been so blind?" you deny the truth that you were simply a human being, doing the best you could with what you knew at the time. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "To love only what happens, what was destined, no greater harmony." He didn't say to love only the victories or the moments you were proud of. He said everything, the failures, the shame, the versions of yourself you'd rather not remember. Why? Because all of it, every flawed step and every misjudged word, was necessary. You could not become wise without once being foolish. You could not grow strong without once being soft. You could not move forward if you were never lost. And yet, you hold yourself hostage to who you used to be. You're walking forward, but dragging the chains of guilt behind you. And the tragedy is, you think that by doing so, you are being righteous. But you're not. You're punishing a version of yourself that no longer exists. And in doing so, you deny the self-respect you could be living with today. Forgiveness, in its truest form, is not permission to forget. It is permission to move forward with clarity, to carry the lesson, not the shame, to be wiser, not heavier. And if you can extend that grace to others, why would you deny it to yourself? The Stoics teach us not to cling to pain, but to examine it, to extract wisdom from it and then let it go. If life governed by nature, fate, and the passage of time has already moved on, then why haven't you? Every time you forgive someone else but not yourself, you are reinforcing the belief that you are somehow unworthy of grace. And what could be more harmful to self-respect than that? So today, ask yourself, am I still punishing myself for something I've already learned from? And if the answer is yes, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop. If this resonated with you, comment below. I choose to release the weight. Let that be your first act of self-forgiveness. The rest begins now. Number 4, always saying yes when you want to say no. I'm a sucker for saying yes. Sometimes I even find myself thinking, no, 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 no. And then somehow I blurt out yes. Why is it so difficult to say the word no? It's just a word, right? But after feeling trapped by my own compulsive need to be liked, I began to question it. Why do I feel this desperate urge to please everyone, even when it leaves me resentful, depleted, and quietly angry at myself? It turns out, like many of us, I was afraid. Afraid of being rejected. Afraid someone would think I was cold, selfish, or unkind. That a simple no would disappoint, upset, or make someone think less of me. And that fear, that silent fear of disapproval, has a cost. Because each time I say yes when I mean no, I am not being kind. I am being dishonest, not with others, with myself. I am betraying my boundaries. I am silencing my needs. I am teaching myself that my inner voice doesn't matter. When you constantly override your own truth just to gain approval, you begin to lose trust in yourself. You may agree to go out, even though you're emotionally drained. Take on one more project when your plate is already overflowing. Smile and say, no problem, while your inner world crumbles under pressure. And then, without fail, comes the guilt. Not toward them, but toward yourself. Because deep down, you know you've abandoned what you truly needed. Self-respect is built not through grand gestures, but in these quiet moments when you choose honesty over approval, clarity over comfort. The wise do not say yes to be liked. They say yes when it aligns with their values. They say no, not out of defiance, but out of respect for what truly matters to them. Boundaries are not walls. They are bridges to inner peace. And the courage to say no gently, firmly, and without guilt is a radical act of self-trust. So the next time your mouth starts to say yes, but your heart screams no, pause. Remember, each no spoken in truth is a yes to your integrity. Stoic says. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Sometimes the adversity is simply the discomfort of disappointing others, but saying no when it matters is how you prove you are no longer a prisoner of their opinions. Now that we've spoken of what we sacrifice when we abandon our boundaries, let's peel back another layer, one far more subtle, but just as corrosive. You might think it's harmless, maybe even therapeutic, but what if every whisper was actually chipping away at your character? Let's talk about that. Number 5, talking behind people's backs. Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? Marcus Aurelius. We often think that speaking ill of others is harmless, even justified. "I'm just telling the truth," we say, or "they deserve it." But the truth Marcus Aurelius invites us to confront is this: the moment we feel the urge to criticize others behind their backs is precisely the moment we should pause and look inward. Talking about others when they're not present doesn't make you better, wiser, or more righteous. It doesn't elevate your image, it exposes your insecurity. When you speak ill of someone to feel superior, you're not feeding your self-respect, you're feeding your ego. And the ego is never satisfied. It will always need another target, another judgment, another comparison. Take Jasmine, for example. A bright, hard-working team member, yet she constantly complains about her colleague Sarah, labeling her lazy and incompetent. But if we dig a little deeper, we find the truth. Jasmine speaks that way not because Sarah threatens the team, but because Sarah threatens her sense of worth. By tearing others down, Jasmine momentarily feels like she's standing taller. But at night, when the room is quiet and the masks come off, Jasmine still feels small, because deep down she knows the pedestal she's standing on was built from the broken pieces of someone else. It's easier to dissect someone else's flaws than to confront our own. But that ease is deceptive, because every time you choose to speak behind someone's back, you silently teach yourself that your voice is safest in the shadows, not in the light of truth. You cannot build self-respect by destroying the image of others. You cannot claim inner strength while relying on outer comparison. And you certainly cannot grow as a Stoic or as a human if your worth is measured by how many people you deem beneath you. So the next time you're tempted to vent, pause. Ask, what part of me feels unseen, unworthy, or unloved right now? Because perhaps what you want to say about them is really something you've long avoided saying about yourself. You've made it halfway through this journey, and for that I thank you. If you're still watching, it means you've chosen courage over comfort, reflection over distraction. But stay with me, because the next behavior is one that silently steals your potential day by day without ever making a sound. Next, let's talk about how putting things off is putting yourself last. Number 6. Chronically procrastinating on important things. There's a quiet tragedy in delay, not the kind that shouts or crashes, but the kind that whispers every morning, "Not today." You tell yourself you'll begin when the moment feels right, when you're more prepared, more rested, more confident. But the truth is, that perfect moment never comes. And in its absence, you start to tell yourself another lie. Maybe I'm just not ready. Maybe I can't do this after all. Procrastination isn't laziness, it's fear in disguise. It's the subtle voice of self-doubt convincing you that you're not yet enough to face the task that matters. And each time you listen to it, you reinforce the message, "I don't believe in myself." You teach your own mind that your intentions are negotiable, that your words carry no weight. Over time, this erodes something deeper than productivity. It erodes self-respect. Because self-respect, at its core, is built on consistency, the sacred bond between what you say and what you do. When you break that bond repeatedly through delay, you chip away at your inner integrity. You become the kind of person who doesn't trust themselves. You look in the mirror and deep down, you know you've been running not from the task, but from who you might become if you truly committed. And while you stall, life doesn't wait. Time, the only currency you can't earn back, quietly slips through your hands. The Stoics warned us of this long ago. Seneca reminded us that the greatest loss is not death, it is wasted life. Each day postponed is a page of your story left unwritten. And someday you may look back, not with anger, but with aching regret. Not for what you failed at, but for what you never dared to begin. Let's be clear, everyone delays sometimes. But chronic procrastination is different. It's not a bad habit, it's a betrayal. It's a slow form of self-abandonment. And the more often you repeat it, the more your identity molds itself around avoidance. You stop seeing yourself as someone who can act. You become someone who waits for clarity, for courage, for some external permission that never comes. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." The Stoics urge us to act not recklessly, but decisively, to start before we feel ready, to treat each moment as our only guarantee. Because each time you take action despite fear, you reclaim a piece of your dignity. You tell yourself, "I am capable. I am not a slave to my hesitation." That is the true antidote to procrastination, not motivation, but self-respect. So the next time you hear that quiet whisper, "Not today," respond with something stronger. If not now, when? Let that question pull you back to life before it passes. Number 7. Letting others control your emotions. How often do you hand over the keys to your inner world? When someone praises you, you're uplifted. When they criticize you, you're crushed. Your mood becomes a fragile boat on the stormy sea of other people's opinions. Without realizing it, you've surrendered the sovereignty of your soul. Letting others dictate how you feel isn't just exhausting, it's an act of self-betrayal. Because every time your emotions rise and fall at someone else's whim, you're silently telling yourself, "My peace depends on them, not me." And that message, it seeps into your subconscious. It chips away at your self-respect. The Stoics taught that we cannot control what happens around us, only how we respond. Yet, in the modern world, we confuse reaction with responsibility. One rude comment, one cold glance, one online insult, and suddenly we spiral. We replay it in our heads, we internalize it, we give it power it doesn't deserve. Think about this. A stranger leaves a negative comment on your post, 5 words that take 2 seconds to type, but you spend the rest of your day doubting yourself, dimming your light, questioning your worth. In that moment, they didn't just steal your peace, you gave it away. But here's the truth, offers like a compass in the fog. Your mind is yours. Your thoughts, your focus, your emotional state, they belong to you. And only when you reclaim that inner territory can you build a life that isn't swayed by every breeze of judgment or flattery. Because when your happiness depends on approval and your sadness depends on disapproval, you live in chains, golden or not, they are still chains. Every moment you choose not to react impulsively, every time you pause before letting someone's words shake your sense of self, you build a fortress, not of stone, but of strength. A strength that whispers, I do not belong to the world, I belong to myself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that real strength is internal. You are not a puppet, and the world is not your master. Detach your sense of worth from the applause or disdain of others, and you will begin to taste true freedom, the kind that can't be taken, only surrendered. But let's go deeper. Sometimes the enemy isn't someone else at all. Sometimes it's your own voice, the one in your head, the one that whispers, you're not good enough, the one that never stops pointing out your flaws, replaying your mistakes, and making you feel small even when no one else is watching. Coming up next is perhaps the most insidious behavior of all, the one you've internalized so deeply, you don't even notice you're doing it. And trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Number 8. Speaking negatively to yourself. Negative self-talk refers to your inner voice making critical, negative, or punishing comments. These are the pessimistic, mean-spirited, or unfairly critical thoughts that go through your head when you are making judgments about yourself. We all have an inner critic. At times, this little voice can actually be helpful and keep us motivated toward goals, like when it reminds us that what we're about to eat isn't healthy, or what we're about to do may not be wise. But too often, that voice turns toxic. It stops being a guide and becomes a jailer. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. This isn't just poetic, it's profoundly practical. The way you speak to yourself is not just background noise, it's the tone in which your soul is painted. Each time you whisper, I'm useless, or I always mess things up, you're not just making an observation, you are writing a belief. You are teaching yourself, slowly and silently, that your own words cannot be trusted to uplift you. Think about it. If someone followed you around all day and said, you're a failure, you never get it right, you're pathetic, you'd call them emotionally abusive. And yet, many of us tolerate that voice when it comes from within. Even worse, we believe it. The Stoics taught us that we must discipline our judgments, for they are the only things we truly control. Seneca once wrote that, we suffer more in imagination than in reality, and negative self-talk is a perfect example. It takes a small stumble and inflates it into a character flaw. Miss one deadline? I'm undisciplined. Get nervous during a presentation? I'm not cut out for this. These are not truths. These are unchecked thoughts, given too much power. Let's be clear. Speaking negatively to yourself does more than bruise your ego, it erodes self-respect. Because every time you criticize yourself unfairly, you're chipping away at the trust you have in your own judgment, your own dignity, your own worth. It creates a mental habit where you expect less of yourself and, sadly, eventually accept it. Choose your thoughts the way you would choose your company. If a friend constantly insulted you, you'd walk away. Why not walk away from your own inner insult? Replace "I'm not good enough" with "I didn't do well today, but I can learn." That's not toxic positivity. It's honest optimism grounded in self-respect. So next time that harsh inner voice tries to speak, pause. Ask, would I speak this way to someone I love? If not, don't speak that way to yourself, because in the end, you're the only lifelong companion you'll ever truly have. Remember, you don't have to silence every negative thought, but you must refuse to obey them blindly. Now I'd love to hear from you. What's one thought you often repeat to yourself and are now ready to challenge? Share it in the comments with the phrase, "I'm choosing new thoughts." Let the inner dialogue become your path to strength, not your silent prison. Number 9. Avoiding discomfort and uncertainty. We often convince ourselves that comfort is peace and predictability is safety, but beneath that calm surface lies a quiet erosion, one that eats away at our self-respect without us even realizing it. Every time we avoid discomfort, every time we turn away from uncertainty, we're not just dodging a challenge, we're sending ourselves a message. I don't believe I can handle this. This avoidance becomes a habit, a mental shortcut, a life lived within boundaries too small for our true potential, the job we never applied for, the conversation we never had, the idea we buried before giving it breath. We justify these omissions with excuses that sound reasonable. It's not the right time. I'm not ready. Maybe later. But deep down, we know the truth. We're afraid. And here's the harsh reality. Every time we let fear dictate our actions, we trade our integrity for short-term ease. We choose stagnation over growth. We choose safety over self-respect. Avoiding the unknown might bring relief in the moment, but over time, it leaves a bitter taste. We begin to feel smaller than we really are. We look at our own reflection and see someone who ran not once, but repeatedly, and eventually we stop trusting ourselves. That's the slow decay of self-respect, not a dramatic collapse, but a quiet withering, one unchosen challenge at a time. You must build up your life action by action, Marcus Aurelius wrote, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward in spite of it. Epictetus reminds us that we are not disturbed by events, but by our perception of them. Discomfort is not the enemy, our fear of it is. Uncertainty is not chaos, it is space, the very space where we grow. The path to virtue is not paved with comfort. It is carved through struggle, through the willingness to be tested, to stretch beyond the familiar. When you walk into the fog of uncertainty, you declare something powerful to yourself. I am willing to become more than I am today. And that is the seed of true self-respect, not comfort, but the courage to face what is difficult. So the next time discomfort knocks, don't run. Open the door, let it in, because each time you embrace the unknown, You teach yourself that you are capable, resilient, and worthy of your own trust. Avoiding discomfort may feel like self-protection, but in truth, it is self-betrayal wrapped in soft words and polite hesitation. Choose the harder road, not because it is hard, but because you are stronger than you think. Number 10. Living against your own values. There is a quiet violence we commit against ourselves, not with weapons, not with words, but with every small decision that contradicts who we say we are. It's the nod we give to something we know is wrong. It's the silence we keep when we should speak up. It's the deal we accept, the rule we bend, the truth we betray just to fit in, just to be liked, just to avoid discomfort. At first, it seems harmless. You convince yourself, everyone does it. You tell yourself, it's not a big deal. But deep inside, something recoils. A quiet ache emerges, the subtle pain of watching yourself walk away from your own principles. That pain doesn't scream, but it lingers. It shows up in the mirror as self-doubt. It whispers at night when you can't sleep. It clouds your confidence, your clarity, your sense of worth. Every time you live against your values, you teach yourself one dangerous lesson: that your word means nothing, not even to you. And once your own promises become hollow, self-respect begins to crumble. Because how can you respect someone you don't trust, even if that someone is yourself? This betrayal doesn't always come in grand, dramatic moments. Sometimes it's subtle. You tell a white lie to avoid conflict. You laugh at a cruel joke to not seem uptight. You stay silent in a meeting when something unethical happens, telling yourself, it's not my place. But each of these choices, small as they may seem, is a brick laid in the foundation of a life built on compromise. Stoicism teaches us that our dignity is not a gift. It is not granted by society, applause, or status. It is forged in the crucible of everyday decisions, in what we say when no one is watching, in what we choose when no one will know. As Epictetus once said, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. That applies to the company we keep within as well, the person we become when no one's looking. It is not easy. Living by your values in a world that often rewards the opposite demands courage. It requires you to be the one who walks away from easy praise, the one who says no when everyone says yes, the one who risks discomfort to remain in alignment with what is right, not what is popular. But here is the quiet reward. With each choice that honors your values, you restore something priceless, your own trust in yourself. And from that trust grows self-respect. Not the shallow kind that needs validation, but the kind that allows you to look in the mirror and feel whole. Because in the end, the world may never see the battle you fought within, but you will. And when you choose integrity over comfort, principle over popularity, and truth over silence, you will win back the deepest kind of freedom, the ability to stand tall in your own eyes. You don't need applause to have self-respect. You don't need grand achievements to feel worthy. You only need one thing: to live in alignment with yourself. The Stoics never asked you to become a superhuman. They only reminded you of this simple truth: every small action you take today is a brick in the foundation of the person you will be tomorrow. And self-respect, it doesn't appear out of nowhere. It is forged day by day through your choices. If this message has resonated with you, don't let it end here. Click like to show your support, subscribe to join our Stoic journey, and stay with us until the very end of this path. And right now, let the next video on your screen guide you even deeper into the wisdom that can change your life.